It is 7:35 on Tuesday, May 20th. This is the Conservation Commission. We have I'm I'm tearing the agenda here. Do you want? Okay, so we don't have any minutes. Because we should have the minutes from
25th.
what day was it? April 21st, but they're not in the mailbox. So we have 2 pay periods, one for 4/19/2025 and 5/10/2025. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so Bruce Martin called me yesterday. They're getting a grant for a sidewalk for Plymouth Street, and I just need to sign it. So I'm just gonna sign right here. What?
Portion?
It just says Plymouth Street, but I can't remember. I think he said between Plymouth Street and, was it Indian Trail maybe? Or the Candle, is it Candlewick? Candle?
Scarce.
Something around, yeah. That needs to go. Okay. Everybody signed? Okay. To review mail. Oh, she was supposed to print out the pond invoices. So look at that. Anybody got a notebook? Can I have a piece of notebook paper? So we had 2 invoices, one for Harding Pond and one for Hobart's Pond for the first phase. I think it was a few days ago. Let's see. What's her name? Jessica. Da. 5/16. So let's see. Oh, this is just the field notes. Were you guys did you receive them? You were supposed to. Guess not. I'll forward them to you. These are the field notes. For some reason I can't bring up the invoice. But anyway, there were 2 invoices. one's for Harding Pond, one's for Hobart Pond.
Okay.
And we just need to approve them. So do I have a motion to approve? We'll need two separate pieces.
Motion approved.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's see. And so we have the certificate of compliance for so lot 5, Marianne Drive, DEP number 340-0478. Leanne and I went last Friday.
0478.
0478, yes. We went on the 16th and did a walk around. So the grass is in, and they were positioning the plants in front of the house. They hadn't done that piece yet. They put, well, I don't know, I didn't see you on the pictures, but so on the back by the fence, silk fence, they put in wood chips, and then it proceeds on.
Okay.
Okay, so like here's the back, and the fence is, then there's rocks and everything, and this piece right here is where they're standing. It's got to be at least a foot deep, if not more. But there are
On the back left of the property toward the water, right? Toward,
Yes.
okay.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
But the piece right here, so there's no rocks like right there. But
With the silt fence?
no, there's no silt fence there.
Okay.
That's just rocks.
Did they sod that? That looks really good grass.
No, it's real grass. No, I don't know how much, well, we were saying fertilizer. I mean, it's pretty green.
We've had a lot of
That thing
rain.
looks like it's green.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very green.
It is.
Yeah, but no, it's not sod. It's
Okay.
Yeah,
right there.
It is. Yeah.
But they've been watering it too, because when we were in the back, there were at least two of the little, things, and I think there was one on the side yard and everything. And in the back, between the other property and the one side, there's wood chips as well. But it's not like over on Franklin Street where it's right there gonna wash. So
Yeah. I think the only other piece to mention is just the slope of the backyard does go towards that left corner.
Yeah.
Where the rock wall is, where the wood chips were, because that
Yeah.
was what drew your attention to it. 'cause
Yeah.
it,
So it's
there's
like-
the potential for the wood chips to end up in.
yeah, so I think we can approve it, but I'm gonna have him put more rocks on that little dip in the back left side. Because like here's the house, and the deck's on the side. It's not in the so it's down that way. So
To the left.
what?
To the left. The back left.
So if you're looking at the front of the house, it's to the left back.
Where the retaining pond is on the other,
Yeah.
okay. No, I'm sure it's full of water right now with the wet spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And then when I went Sunday, they had planted the plants that were set out, but they hadn't like mulched or anything like that. But
Okay. So, do we feel comfortable approving? Are we approving with the condition to say he's got to put some more stone?
I'm.
Okay.
I
So
think
where that wood chip's going to roll into the what?
Yeah, because I think, I mean, when I look at this,
It's like a neighbor. Should have stopped over just to take a look at that. Because the other place in Franklin Street, we were always worried about is that it was
Yeah.
leaning against the silt fence, and if they
Yeah.
pull the silt fence out, it's just going to fall in the,
Yeah.
all the wood
so
chips would fall.
this is the,
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. All right.
but the other part is all the stuff, well, like, that's the.
Would you rather just see grass going all the way to it rather than wood chips? Is that what we'd rather see?
In the future, yes, I don't want it, because they take that out, and there's a possibility, because you don't know what, those wood chips have been, like, treated with. If they, got them when somebody did it, but
Excuse me.
I'm willing to talk to him and say, I've got this, you're not gonna, you do this, and we've already approved, but you're not gonna get the copy until you finish that.
Okay.
If you guys are good with that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. I need a motion to approve the certificate of compliance for 340-0478, Lot 5, Marie Ann Drive.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Home, we got that, we got that. Okay. Are these two things, the OSP, RP, is that you? And is
Yeah.
also the wetlands protection bylaws?
That's me. I did some printing, so.
I did talk to Whitney about School Street.
Oh, what'd she have to say?
So she agrees with us that you should be removing the papers out of the stream.
The papers, yeah, okay.
Restoring it as, removing anything put in there, essentially. Make sure he doesn't dump anything or take any vegetation out of there in the future. And if he does, it's got to go to us.
Okay. So can you, like,
Yep. I'm going to go knock on his door.
yeah, you can just either go knock on his door or both of their doors, or I think did you get the email from,
You. Yes. Yeah, I got that one.
yeah, so you'll have, I
Let's
think, both
continue.
of their emails. Okay, that goes to her.
This is one.
Okay. So Leanne.
Okay. All right, so the Open Space and Recreation Plan Steering Committee met last week, May 14th. One of the outcomes of that meeting was discussion on the goals and strategies that are going to be contained within the plan. So the plan, the timeline of the plan is, the goal is to finish it around October and submit it to the state at that time. The state, I guess, has feedback sometimes, so we'll get it back and have it done by the end of the year. Once the plan is approved by the state, it goes into place, and there has been a change. Open space and recreation plans in Massachusetts are now good for 10 years. So the goals that we're looking at are going to be over a 10-year period. It used to be 7, I guess, until very recently. So you'll notice the dates on the paper and the email I gave you are a little off. It really just changed. So a 10-year time frame is what you're looking at when you're thinking about these goals. So in the document, we have 2 sets. The first set, it says at the top in purple, it's from the OSRP steering committee. So this is what the committee, when looking at it, thought made sense in terms of goals and strategies. There is another section that reflects the answers in the big survey that was done, open to the public. It's a little confusing to look at because many of the things are very similar, just worded differently in some cases. But Jason is seeking feedback on this by June 6th. So if you do have time to look at this, it would be good, primarily because some of these goals and strategies are going to filter down to us, the Conservation Commission, to execute.
So why are they seeking to do our wetlands bylaw?
That's a totally separate
Oh,
thing that I want to talk about.
okay,
Sorry.
okay, because I
So
was
this
like,
is just, that's
no,
just a
just this
separate
is this.
thing to
Okay.
discuss. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry. So this is just, so, I mean, some of the things, like one of the things on there that's mentioned is like the development of affinity groups, potentially like for land management, so like Friends of Hobart Pond or something to that effect. Organizing cleanup days, things like that. I don't think there's anything I had top of mind to really flag as unusual. But if you could take a look, and if you, of course, have anything to add, that can be added as well. So that's the first item related to the OSRP. The second also kind of is related. We have been doing these walks around Whitman to see what's out there, and the goals of the walks are to look at sites around town to evaluate them for recreation potential or just open space potential. So we've been to 3 places so far. We've been to Pete Hole, so off of Pine Street. This is down, if you're on Pine Street, on the Route 18 side. There is a newer build house down that end. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
There's like a metal shed.
Yes, just beyond the metal shed, same side of the road, and you go down a little further, and then there's a new build house, newer build.
Yeah, that little hut thing. That's
Pete's Hole?
Peat Hole, P-E-A-T, like a peat fire.
Yeah. So the little hut
Yeah.
is the ham radio that they lease for, I think, $5 from us.
Really?
We give them. Yeah, they.
That's conservation? That's where's that metal hut?
Yeah, we own that. It's under the purview of the. I don't know. Technically, if it's conservation land,
By the town.
but it's owned by the town. But we have control over it.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people don't know where it is, which is the first kind of thing about it. So before that newer build house was built, there used to be a very clear kind of trail that came out to the road that you would go down. And Pete Hole is just a body of water, like a round body of water. There is I think it's not the Meadow, it might be the Meadow Brook or something like that, that goes straight back and feeds into Pete Hole. So what has happened since that home was built, and we got very lucky because the homeowner was actually home and outside at the time we were there. So that was very fortunate. So we were able to speak with him, and he had been advised by the town when they built. So his lot is a private lot, and it always has been, actually. It was never part of the conservation land. It was not sold to him. It was already there.
You built it from the one in front on 18. I think that's the same owner, right? The one in the front, the one in the back.
No, the open space that belongs to the people that live in the house, that first house. So there's the house that faces the building USA. Then there's a house behind that faces Pine Street. They own that meadow. That's not town property. That's theirs.
Okay.
And then a little place up where you start seeing a tree line. That's where you have to kind of look. You have to drive slow, and you'll see the little path by the rocks. So
the actual path now the house has been built, you have to walk. And he said, he was advised that people do have a right of way to go to it, but it's on his property. So it's like behind his driveway now. Because we were going around like all mixed up because I hadn't walked down there and been back there in like 8 years probably. But if you go right behind his driveway, it's just the same trail as you remember. So it's still there. It's still clear. We walked back to Pete Hole itself. Saw it, looks good. But really the trail kind of ends right there. It opens up into like a open space, and then there's the body of water. At one time, years and years ago, potentially there may have been a trail that went over to like the Strawberry Valley Golf Course.
there was, because like when we moved here in 1999, I would take we didn't have Riley yet, but I took Duncan. We would walk there and then end up by the thing, and you could actually walk behind Mayflower Circle.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't know if that was private property or not.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of that.
Yeah, that's what it used to look like. Yeah, it doesn't.
That's where you park? Oh, it doesn't
you
look like
can't park
this
now.
anymore?
So behind his driveway now.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a
basically.
house now?
It's kind of
Next to
it's
it, like-
right next to it. So
Yeah.
Probably built
that-
in the last 3 years. Maybe
Oh
4.
wow. This is 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what, yeah. The reason Pete Hole came up was in the previous draft of the Whitman's Open Space and Recreation Plan, which is from like the year 2000-ish. Pete Hole was flagged as like a potential to like open and connect trails and whatnot at that time, so that's why this came up again.
Yeah.
At this point, our thoughts were that no, let's not do trails. You know, it doesn't seem probably like fiscally responsible to develop trails back in that area where it's sort of limited, and it's just seems to be very healthy and happy as open space back there. So not much else to add about Pete Hole, but it is there if you care to go back there.
So you're allowed to go past his driveway?
I
And then the
guess.
trail's behind there?
Yeah, it's a little awkward, but yeah, technically, I guess you can. Yeah, I personally won't do it again, even though I used
Yeah.
to walk down there. It just doesn't
Yeah.
feel right. But anyway, so that's Pete Hole. Next, we went to the Flaherty Trail on Auburn Street. This is on the far side of Auburn Street, like at the intersection with Commercial Street. There is a big sign for Flaherty Trail that often gets overgrown. It is very easy to miss. It's across the street, or like maybe diagonally across the street. There is a house that keeps, I think, cows and horses. So that's sort of a landmark for Flaherty Trail.
And would you say which street was that on?
Flaherty Trail's on Auburn.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
that's the one with the
Eagle Project, right?
yeah.
Yes.
He cleared it.
Yep.
What was that? 2 or 3 years ago?
And then
maybe?
replaced or reformed.
But you have to like,
Yep.
yeah, it's hard to see the sign sometimes
It is,
because
yes,
it's like
very
because
hard.
it's brown, it blends right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
it is.
you have to
yeah.
really look for it. But yeah,
We do, yeah. So really not a lot of parking for Flaherty Trail, as you can imagine. We did have 3 cars with, yes, we had 3 cars with us that day. We just pulled them over on the side of the road, it was fine, but not ideal. It's Auburn Street.
Yeah.
And there is that intersection right there, so it's a little tough. Anyway, the trail itself, though, is really nice. We were very surprised. It's in great condition. It's very clean. It's like beautiful, town-owned land, both sides. It's a dead-end trail, so it goes just, I think it's like 0.7 in, then you just turn around and come back out.
That far?
Yep, so you almost end up in, I think it's East Bridgewater. So as it is, it's really nice and definitely underutilized, probably because of the parking situation. So 2 things about Flaherty Trail that will probably make its way to the plan is to look for some sort of parking solution. We were looking at some of the parcels that surround it, where maybe there could be something added, so that could be explored further. There's also been the possibility of connecting the Flaherty Trail in some way, shape, or form with trail networks in other towns, East Bridgewater in particular. So Jason from Old Colony Planning, he has colleagues who are working on open space plans for the Bridgewaters and for Abington, so they're all connected and can discuss this. So definitely check out the Flaherty Trail if you haven't been down
Where is
there.
it exactly?
on Auburn Street. So right before, if you're going from CBS, you go almost to the end until
Washington Street.
Washington Street. It's on the right hand side. I think there's I think a greenhouse or something.
Was it 100 feet before the blinking light?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the right hand side, and it's like you got to look for it because it's right next to this house, and you just think it might be their trees, but then
Let's give you the number of the house. So
Other
it's
side of the
in
street.
between 28 and
Yeah,
38
okay, then go
Auburn
up.
Street.
keep on going. Yep, keep on going. Yep, right there. That's the sign right there. Back it up. Yep,
Oh wow.
that's it.
And this is this guy's property. This isn't like parking or something.
No, that's the walk into the thing, isn't
Oh,
it?
this is the trail.
Yes, there should be.
There is
Yeah,
a sign.
so
there.
there's
There
a
is.
sign. You can't really see it, right? But
Yeah,
it's like,
that's fine.
yeah, it's hidden by the pole. That's, yeah.
Okay, so that's not the entrance to the trail?
Yeah.
That-
So that might be his driveway that you were, yeah, that's
Yeah.
his driveway. But yeah,
Yeah, when
but
you're
there's
there,
a little,
yeah, it makes more
Yeah.
sense when you're there in person. It does look very apparent, like it is definitely a trailhead. It's not.
Yeah,
sketchy.
no, I guess
Yeah.
that is that gravel like ours?
I don't know. I can't
Because
remember
it's
if it was
like
gravel,
the
honestly.
street is like paved down to like pull in there.
Yeah.
But his
Oh yeah,
driveway
it's
is adjacent.
quite narrow. Yeah. You could probably pull a car in there.
Yeah.
I would say, but no more than one. I guess, as you said, like maybe you could push it back or something, and I don't know. But again, it's tough with that intersection right there to come out.
yeah. And especially where the sign is and there's a pole,
Yeah.
you know.
So the whole thing would have to be looked at.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is definitely some potential to add on to the Flaherty Trail. Just make it
And how long did you say it was?
just under a mile
Wow.
in and out.
That's surprisingly long.
Yeah. 0.7, I think it is. Yeah.
Does it follow this little river?
Yep, yeah, because it's wet. Yeah, it's wet on both sides, and yep,
That's really cool.
yeah, it's very cool.
It's right down the street from me, so.
Yeah, definitely go. I want to go back. All right, so we did Fire Trail, and then the town forest,
The town forest again.
which was fun. So the town forest, it was me
A
and
small little island that kind of.
yes,
Yeah.
Jason and Ed. So we went. So this is down by Blanchard Funeral Home at the Rotary.
Little streets like Heidi's Way.
Jerome Street is diagonally across. So this is not an official town forest, I guess is the first thing just to say here. So the town forest as it is comprised of land that was, actually I don't think I have my map still. No. Land that is owned by the town. It was taken by the town for tax reasons, like in the 1930s. And there are some smaller parcels surrounding it that are privately owned. It backs up the Berries neighborhood is on one side, and then there's Green Acres Drive on the other side. So going into the town forest, again, it's not apparent, it's not marked. But there is, once you're standing there, you kind of say, oh, because there's a little path. It is right next to someone's home. So
Yeah.
again, it's a little bit questionable. There's no parking on that side of the road. So we went in and we just kind of went through it. There are apparent trails for a certain length of time, and then the apparent trails kind of stop. And that's where we started walking through some brush and stuff. One thing, it was fortunate though that we kept going because we did come to, at the end of the Berries neighborhood going across, there is almost this like ghost road. I don't know how else to describe it, but it was cleared. It looks like at some point, and it's wide enough to be like a legal road. It's all grown in now, but just interesting piece of land there. There is water back there, some streams and whatnot. We ended up coming out into Green Acres Drive. We crossed this like culvert thing, and we had to like bushwhack our way out.
So wait,
It
this
was-
goes all the way in between those two
Yeah,
roads?
yeah,
Oh, wow. And
yeah.
does it go all the way to this like
You can't.
conservation?
You could basically walk to Rockland if you were really determined. It gets very wet though. That's where we did stop, where it starts to. You can see where it starts to get wet. We went sideways instead and got out. So the first thing about the town forest, there is a lot of potential. It seems like with this, the first thing is to probably try to actually incorporate it as a town forest, because that is an official designation in Massachusetts. Plenty of towns do have a town forest. So that's one thing that will likely go into the plan, is to work on that. And there is a process, I guess. So to work on that, once it's designated as such, there could be the potential to get grants and help and whatnot to actually do a network of trails through there. Again, potential for maybe connecting up, depending on the conditions of the wetlands back there, into Rockland. Parking would have to be looked at, but where it does kind of go out into a cul-de-sac, there's potential there and whatnot. So Anyway, potential there. Probably, I mean, you can walk back there, but I wouldn't anticipate going too far, or bring a machete or something. If you want. So, yeah.
So there's 2 access points.
Yes, exactly. Yep, there's 2. There's one right off the rotary too. So the one near Blanchard, and then there's one like around the corner there. Yeah.
It's between houses.
So people who live down there seem very familiar
Wow,
with it. The rest of us don't.
Oh, there's 2 access points.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Versions.
Yep.
Wow.
I love this map, by the way. I've been using it a lot.
Pass, yes.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I used to use that at work almost every day.
That's messy.
All the layers. There's a ton of layers
It's
on there.
fantastic.
Yep.
So this backs up directly to all the other conservation and preserves.
Yep.
Oh, this is designated as town forest up here.
Yeah. Well, it's
Just
not.
named? That
It's
doesn't-
just it does appear on that map, which that's threw everyone off because we're like, wait, it's on an official map.
Yeah, it says town
But it-
forest.
Yeah, I know. But it's actually not, I guess. And a chunk of it is owned apparently by the Wildlands Trust,
It's the mass.
Oh.
like officially.
GIS.
So we'd
Oh,
have
okay.
to coordinate all that. So,
That'd be a great project for the
It's
ORSP is
Yes.
to designate that actually. And make sure if it's a description, you're right, say it has a description that has to be, if it's acreage, if it's access, something.
yep.
Okay. I think that's good.
Yeah,
I like
no,
it.
definitely. That one, I'm
Yeah, put
enthusiastic.
it on the map
Yes, yes.
officially.
It would.
That's cool.
Yeah. So,
Are those 2 like access points? Are they like just overgrown and they need to be cleared, or they're almost like trails?
they're like trail
Okay.
openings, yeah, and they are clear for a period of time. And again, we went in the one that's directly across from Blanchard's, like right next to a house
Yeah.
there. So,
Kind of got parking.
well, that's what we actually parked at
Blanchard's,
Blanchard's.
yeah.
Ed did talk to them and ask them, and they were like, yeah. So, that's a potential too if they would, allow a certain number of cars, like in the corner of their lot or something like that.
Town forest parking, town forest parking. See
Yeah,
it.
so whatever.
No overnight parking.
And
but
then a
you can-
crosswalk
Yeah, is there a
across
crosswalk
Right.
there at all?
there, crosswalk across 58, directly in front of the 2 access points.
Yeah,
that's
you
awesome.
could, yeah. So, yep. So
I
definitely.
feel like a Eagle Scout project somewhere.
Yep. If you do go, I don't recommend bringing a dog with you or anything like that. It just gets messy down there. So
Tips, a lot of tips.
we came out with no ticks. Actually, thank goodness. I was very surprised. Or I didn't have any
Yeah.
anyway. So yeah.
They're
But,
out there.
yeah, there's a lot of thorns and whatnot. So it does get very dense because no one's clearing it. I mean, it is clear again to a certain point, and then it stops. So
You can see that road that you're talking about.
yes,
on
that's
this
it.
map.
Yep.
That's
I don't know
crazy.
what the
It
backstory
must
on
have,
that
like,
is.
when they were building those neighborhoods or something. Maybe?
Yeah, maybe they were going to
Like
connect
putting a
them.
water
Yep.
in or something.
Yes.
You can see it go through all of them.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty weird. Yeah. So
Great.
yeah, kind of a cool unknown area. So that's that. Last thing, the open space and Old Colony Planning is going to have a booth at Whitman Day, which is June 14th. Jason is going to be there, sitting there all day. So please go say hi to him, and direct people there. Okay, so that is all of that. Okay. Anyway, the next thing I wanted to bring up, and this is not an immediate project at all. This is just potential consideration for the future. Working backwards, any kind of bylaw has to be approved at town meeting. So, this is something over the course of a year you'd have to consider and understand and whatnot. The reason this came into my mind, I'm talking about proposing a wetlands protection bylaw. What I have here is the sample model bylaw from Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissions. And they have a ton of resources for towns that want to do this. Many towns have these, and in the email I did send the spreadsheet they have that has a listing of all the towns that have a bylaw and kind of the details. It was not printer friendly, so I did not print it out. We do not have any bylaws here.
Right.
But why did this come up? Came up to me just based on some of the sites we've seen over the course of our travels here. And what you can do, like with the bylaw, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act sets the minimum standards. Town bylaws can set stricter standards than that. So what are some things we could consider doing? You can include resources not covered by the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, such as isolated vegetated wetlands, which we've seen a few instances of where there's disconnected patches from the rest. I think there's at the middle school, there's a section like that.
It's gone.
Oh, it's gone.
Yeah, that was part of the most.
That was okay. So,
but you're right. Non-jurisdictional,
Yeah.
isolated islands. Yep.
Yeah, so like that we
Regal
could,
has a few of those behind Regal. Yep.
so like that is something we could tie that in. Vernal pools that are not necessarily like the certified type by the state. The way you do that, you can include a broader definition of what we consider a vernal pool to be. Protections like that. I saw examples of that in Abington's bylaw. Abington did a bylaw pretty recently. I think it was 2023. They added one.
We could put some of the things in our order of condition, the boilerplate in there, so it's how it's called out in there. That we could actually make a bylaw.
Right.
That
like
includes
this.
some of those, so people know up front what's going to be in the order of conditions.
I like this enforcement paragraph.
And there's an enforcement. You can put a little teeth in that
Yeah,
in that bylaw like that. But it's got to be approved at the town meeting.
yeah.
Right, that's the thing, yeah. And I mean, with enforcement, I did see, this is kind of a random example, but Bellingham, Massachusetts had kind of a more approachable enforcement structure where they had 3 layers. They were like, first infraction, you get a written warning. Second, it's a fine of this amount of money. Third, it's a higher fine. So, I mean, you could do something like that, or you could do just a fine amount of money per infraction, which would be there at your option to utilize. The other provision that a lot of towns have is a strict no build zone, so like a 50-foot no build. Whether that's appropriate or not, obviously it would have to be discussed, but things like that, that's just examples of how we could exercise some control there.
No, it's definitely worth a look.
Yeah.
Of sites that, we keep some recurring, the same issues keep reoccurring. We could put together a bylaw that make sure it's kind of on the stone rather than repeat ourselves.
Yeah, because we could put that as like, just so you know, if you
Yeah.
violate the order of condition, here's a copy of our bylaws, and
Yep.
we will enforce them. Maybe it would prevent some things
Yep.
that have previously happened from happening again.
Yeah. A lot of times, sometimes it's one page. It doesn't have to be, pages like that thick. It's good.
No.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So over the course of the next year, I mean, what we can do, because again, there's nothing you can do until a town meeting
Right.
comes around again. It's just all. So I mean, what we can do is try to, as you said, like come up with some recurring examples, I think, and just how can we capture that into something like this. And yeah, just we can go through and kind of weed out the stuff we don't.
Yeah.
Doesn't apply to us. There is some stuff in here that just doesn't apply. Like it's more like coastal community stuff. Thank goodness we don't have to deal with that. So yeah, we can keep it going.
Yeah.
I'll look at some of the other resources that MACC has as well. And just the process in town. I know obviously that it has to go to the town meeting, but how does it get there? I don't really know.
We'd have talked to Mary Beth.
Yeah, because I know there's like a bylaw committee or something. In
Yeah,
town, so
her or Kathy would know exactly what we need
okay. So
to
yeah.
do and what the process is.
Okay, so I have to find that out too. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll keep it going.
That's awesome.
And I just can't do anything immediately, but yeah, okay. So we'll keep it. I'll keep it in mind.
A year. Give me your Florian's going to be 18 months back.
Right.
Okay, anything
I like it.
else? Okay.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, not really crucial, but I do have a schedule update for me. So I've been at home, so I've been very available over the past year, but no longer. So I'm going back to a full-time job on June 2nd. So I'll be a normal 9-to-5 person again, and I'll be in Boston 1 or 2 days a week.
Welcome
So-
back.
I know. So, oh well. So
Wow.
Ed will have to go walk in the woods alone.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, that's it for me.
Awesome.
Okay, anything else? Okay. No, it is 8:15, Tuesday, May 20th. And we are done for the evening.